The thing that I've realized from all the previous shows is that the people in the Bible, the specifically the really important folks, that's Jacob, Abraham, and then Moses, they're all a bunch of scammers, okay? Once you uncover the layer of what's going on, you realize that this is obviously a scam. Like, you can't even write out of the story how scammy it is. In about 300 years, the population of the Jews has grown from 70 to several million. There's lots of Jews around, and now an unnamed pharaoh decides that this huge influx of Jews is a serious problem. He's like, if this keeps happening, they are going to take over. So he decides he's going to enslave them. This is his pragmatic solution. Unfortunately, even though they're enslaved, they apparently are still very, very fruitful, and they just keep having kids. He decides that he is going to kill all the young males. Into this environment, baby Moses is born to someone from the house of Levi, because it's important here, this has to be from the house of Jacob. It's got to be a true Jew, man. Otherwise, it's kind of like, who the fuck are you? Yes! Ah! Now his mom tries to hide his birth. She does so successfully for like a couple days, but after it starts getting hard, because apparently they're all over the place, and I guess babies make a lot of noise, so she decides that the best thing to do is to build a basket for him, fill it full of stuff, and just basically send it down the river. His sister's watching on, and all of a sudden the nameless pharaoh's daughter sees the basket, sends one of her slaves, fetch the kid, and they decide he needs a wet nurse, and out of the most unbelievable coincidence, the wet nurse they choose is Moses' own mother. So that works out pretty good. Could have been any old bitch, but they chose this one because I guess it's really hard to introduce new characters, and you don't want your golden boy to be drinking out of some strange tit. One day he's out and he sees an Egyptian taskmaster whipping some slaves, and then when no one is looking, he sneaks over to the dude and hits him over the head with a rock and fucking kills him for like no other reason than for doing his job. He buries him in a shallow grave. A little while later, okay, he sees two other Hebrews fighting with one another, so he goes over and he's like, hey, how dare you raise up against each other? How can you fucking do this? Both of them now turn around and gang up on him and say, who the fuck are you to tell us what to do? Are you going to kill us like you killed that Egyptian guy? So Moses all of a sudden is like, holy shit, this thing is known. So he pretty much realizes that everybody knows, and he's like, I gotta get the fuck out of Egypt. He goes to the land of Media. While he's sitting down by a well, he notices that there's a couple of lady shepherds who are trying to get to the well, and a couple of guys are harassing them. He then proceeds to beat the shit out of all of them, and then he goes back with them to a Midian priest. So he's like this pagan dude who gives him some bread, and he's like, hey, thanks for saving my daughter, here's one of them.